Welcome to the On Main Street podcast, where you'll meet some of the area's leading minds. These community leaders and business owners are ready to share their journeys of success, failures, and what it takes to reach your full potential.
We're your hosts, Brady Lindquist.
And I'm Kelly Baith. In this episode, we had the pleasure of sitting down with Gina Leisure and Stacey Roberts of the Happy Soul in New London.
These two ladies are full of energy and have given New London's Main Street a needed boost a few years back. Their vision and follow-through is simply amazing.
We can't wait to share their story with you, so let's get started. Gina, we'll start with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, I grew up in New London, Minnesota, where, we're in Spicer right now. So it's of New London and Spicer, it's the better half of the pairing.
No. You might have to edit a little bit.
Yeah, you can. So grew up in New London. I graduated from New London Spicer High School. My husband was my high school sweetheart. I went to school at Gustavus. I was a sales manager for Herberger's in St. Cloud for a while. When I had the opportunity to leave my job and get hired into a great position by a wonderful lady at United Way. So that is where I got the opportunity to meet Stacey, who is my now business partner, and we own the Happy Soul in New London together.
And the reason why I hired her
awesome.
was because she was Miss Congeniality in the New London beauty pageant.
Was she? I should have known that.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Time out. Did she say beauty pageant?
Beauty pageant.
It is not a beauty. It is a scholarship program. So let's clarify
That's what
that
sold
out
me.
of the gate.
That's what sold me was
Yeah.
the Miss Congeniality.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I have one daughter. She's 4. And my husband is also in New London with Leisure Insurance. We're kind of New Londonites.
Oh, that's good.
That is good. We like it here.
He's a fireman.
Yes, and he's a New London Fire Department. Good. Thank
Cole is great, yes.
you. Yeah, he is. I think he's pretty good.
man. Okay, now Stacey.
All right.
A little bit about you.
Let's see where
huh?
this goes.
Here we go.
And I'm actually a social worker. That's my training. And so that made me prepared to raise 4 children. So I have 4 kids, and their ages are, I don't even know anymore, 21 to 28. And I'm a grandma to a little baby. And my husband he works for his company called Designed Environments, which designs retail stores. And we're having our 30-year anniversary this year.
Wow.
30-year
Congrats.
anniversary?
Jeez. Long time.
I know.
That is. That's pretty awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, let's
you
go
go.
back to, so United Way is where
Rein
you
us
guys
in, Brady.
That's all good. No, that's good. That's good.
Yes.
Yes. So that's where you guys
We worked
met,
together
right?
for 5 years at United Way. I hired her halfway through my tenure, and she was the marketing director. And it was pretty awesome. It was a good job. It was fun. Always with people, so that made it really great. And I learned over those 10 years of how to run a business. And yeah.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity. It was fun to be involved at that level in the community. So we had that chance to meet a lot of different people, learn a lot about our communities. It was a great skill. I mean, there's a lot of skills that came from that job.
You work with
well.
every demographic, income level, and that was really cool to be part of such a diverse community. And the job, just the duties of the job were so wide ranging. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was cool. And also, like with working with a nonprofit, it gives you the opportunity. You do everything yourself.
Yeah.
So
We're used to that.
So you really learn a lot about everything from printers to hosting large events. So
And one of our pride and joys of our time at United Way was we started a program called Empower Women United in Philanthropy, which was really cool. And that, excuse me, and that group, we started the Growmobile, which is a mobile preschool that drives around and goes around Candioi County and goes to daycares and goes to like the mobile home parks and the out smaller communities and reaches children and teaches them before they enter kindergarten. And that's still going today, and it's really fun to see that.
it is really cool.
In our community.
That's awesome.
It is
was fun.
awesome.
Let's dig into kind of Happy Soul when it started. Tell us kind of the story about your ideas. I was lucky I got to kind of share a little bit of that when you were walking through the old Tiger Marine building.
Oh,
that was right
fun.
across the road from our office.
Didn't we shock
And
you?
look what it turned into. It's
Didn't we
amazing.
surprise you?
Yeah.
Did we look at it with you before we opened
Yep.
too? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think we said this would be the dumbest thing ever to buy a
boy.
building in New London, tear it down, and then start a store.
I could see the wheels cranking when you walk through it.
I know.
And Eric's too. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, tell our listeners, tell them how you got going. with the Happy Soul?
Well, when I left United Way, I was actually retiring. I had 3 kids in high school still, and I wanted to spend the last 4 years of their high school experience as a kind of stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And then my dad was ill, and so I wanted to spend time with him. So I left, and I was going to be done working.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was leaving United Way, I mean, literally, Gina, I'm like the Jerk. You remember the movie The Jerk, where he's carrying everything, and he has you might not. You guys are probably too young, but Steve Martin walks out and he's carrying I just want this one umbrella, and I just want this. And he's got all this stuff in his arm. So that's what I look like. Go into my car, and Gina opens the window and yells out, "We should start a business together. I'm gonna miss you."
Yep.
Yeah. And so we had kind of danced around it a little bit prior to me quitting, but for the most part, it wasn't until I quit that it was a direct ask. And so, I took my
2 weeks.
2 weeks of retirement. And actually, the sad part of the story is my dad passed away right away, and that wasn't the end. I mean, I wanted to spend a couple years with them, but so when my dad passed away and I got through the grieving and the funeral, then we started meeting and
we started kind of brainstorming.
United Way, and then we came up with the Happy Soul.
So tell us about, why is it fashion, clothing, all the cool things that you've got over there? Is there some sort of history of that, or?
Yeah, well, when we were brainstorming different business opportunities and being at the United Way in Candioi County, it was a struggle to find, and we worked a lot with different women that were in their careers or just within power. We worked a lot with women, and it was hard to find fashion in this area that was unique, that was different, that was high quality, that was functional. And when we were brainstorming business opportunities, we were kind of looking at different gaps that we were aware of. And, the boutique and the fashion and the business was something that really spoke to us. Mm-hmm. Now, also, your husband has experience in designing retail stores. So that was a pretty great perk.
Yeah. And that, I mean, it was like for me being taller and, a little bit on the broad side, it was hard to find clothes that fit in this community. Like you and I would always go to the cities a couple times a year just to do my shopping because I couldn't find shoes that fit me here, pants that were long enough, and clothes that just felt good when you wear them. And we really both wanted to provide that for women in this area, that we call it effortless style, fashion and function. It's easy to get dressed. I mean, if you look. Too bad that this isn't video.
Oh, I wish it was, you guys.
I'm telling you, this is effortless.
Comfy.
Yep. The fashion part might not be there, but effortless and function, it would be what I'm wearing today. But, just that you don't have to think so much to get dressed, that your clothes are going to fit, that they're going to last. And then we kind of, one of the fun things we did is we went to a few different boutiques and went, what do we like? What don't we like? And
we did the Great Minnesota Boutique tour.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So all over.
Okay.
We went to one boutique. It was a little higher price point, and it was only clothes, and it just happened to be clothes for taller women for the most part, not for petite women like Gina. And so I had a great time. I was in and out of the dressing room, and Gina just sat there and didn't really have anything to do. So we realized we need to do something in that situation when girls go shopping together. So that's why we have gift items, and we have funny things people can read, and we have perfumes and lotions and great smelling candles and stuff like that, so a group of ladies can come in, and if someone doesn't have the money to shop for clothes, but they want to buy something or do something, there's something for everybody. Mm-hmm. I think.
Yeah, you can say that again. You knocked it out of the park. So as you keep everything so fresh over there, what's the key to doing that? What's new? What's next? How do you stay ahead of the game at your place?
We go to market a lot.
That's a great question. Yeah, we do. We so in our store, you've kind of touched on this. We have women's is our main category. So we have a variety of women's items, and we try to find a variety of price points, a variety of fits and styles. Like some of our clothing is kind of at an entry-level price point. It's a great quality, and it comes we get 6s of that. And then some of our highest price pointed items, maybe we get 3, and they're custom made for us. They're custom made for our store. So we go from our women's to men's to gift. We have home decor, And then we have shoes as well. So those categories also bring us to that many different markets. So we go to a fashion market for women. We have an outdoor men's market. We go to shoe market, and we also go to gift and homes. So going to all those markets gives us the opportunity to kind of stay up on what's current and what's quality. And there's more benefits to market too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, market. I mean, definitely we go to market and you see, because you're buying 6 months to 12 months ahead. So you see the trends that are coming, which is kind of fun. And it's unique because a lot of times the vendors are coming from the coasts. Okay. And so they're about 2 years ahead of us. Sure. By the time it gets to New London, we saw it 2 years ago. So we have to be careful that we're not getting too trendy. That's why we say we're fashion forward. We're just a little bit ahead of it, but not trendy. So we also, we really focus on non-disposable fashion. So you're going to buy a piece and you're going to be able to wear it for a long time. And so trying to find that balance of classic and fashion forward. So, and we were able to do that. We have really good relationships with our vendors. They're good friends of ours too, and we love to be with them. And they help us too. They kind of guide us to, nope, this isn't your store. They know our store. They know what we've been buying. And we've been doing this 8 years, so we're kind of veterans when you go to market because a lot of places come in and go, in a couple of years. So we're excited.
So that's a good point. I want the listeners to, what would you tell them as far as you two working together, your relationship, what's key, what kind of pushes you guys forward,
Pre-partner counseling.
Pre-partner counseling. There you go.
That is true.
We did. We had our husbands talk to us about it, and then our accountant and our attorney, all three of them. And then our husbands constantly talk to us about it. But sometimes it's just, I think we're lucky. It's natural for the most part.
That's great.
We've always had a natural ability to get along. I think we've always said one of the things is we're good friends, but we're not peers. So on the weekends, I have, just because of our age difference and stuff, we don't run in the same crowds. And that helps because we're not, like, if I have a bad day with Gina and I go home and I complain to my friends and my friends are her friends and my friends go to her friends and say, did you hear what Stacey said? And blah. So it just eliminates that. But I really don't ever go home and complain about you.
That's good.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
I usually complain to her face if I'm going to.
I was just going to say that. We have a good communication pattern that we confront things pretty openly, and that really is great for a partnership. We also have different skill sets, and that's really nice. So we kind of have different focuses that we work on, but we work together really well to keep everything moving forward. We like to have fun together, but I think that we're good. Well, I don't know. You keep the train moving forward. Stacey's she's got the ideas. She's constantly thinking 2 years, 4 years in advance. How are we going to accomplish this? You're constantly moving us forward. Mm-hmm. And that's really important.
And she gets the stuff done day to day. I just sit and think.
Well, you got to have both of that, right?
Yeah. That's all she does. That's not at all true.
But we both like to work on the floor. Wow. We both love to be around people. So, the customer side and the sales side, we're both very comfortable in that role. And then we also, even though I'm 5'10" and, I have a very different build than Gina does, and she's how tall? 5'6",
5'5",
5'5". So she's a little on the shorter end, and we're also 17 years apart. So you would think we wouldn't have. I wouldn't say we have identical taste, but we have the same style, and for our ages. And so when we go to market, we are usually right on the same page all the time with what we buy. Like yes, except I made her buy. We get one Trump. Every time you go to market, you get one. I don't care if you like it or not, we're buying it. You get that one time per market. Yep. So I pulled that this time on a cat sweater.
I think this
and
is going to be
cats. I'm not even a cat lover.
We're going to extend this to an annual.
But it's pretty cool, and I'm losing the vote because we put it out on Instagram and Facebook for a vote, and nobody says we should buy it. But there will be 5 cat sweatshirts.
Do a quick picture if you want to.
Look at how cute that is.
That is.
Wow.
I'm even going to wear it. I don't even like cats. I think it's so cute.
Trump card.
Mm-hmm. So I pulled the Trump card on that.
That was her Trump card on that. So it's a
And
lovely
I think
cat
it's
with
gonna sell.
bright green eyeballs made in sequence for those who need to visualize what that might be.
But overall, we do have the
Yeah.
same taste when we go to market. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, and we have we're good at looking at like maybe if it's not our style, how we can push it a little bit and stepping out a little bit,
Sure.
but still keeping it within like the Happy Souls look.
Right. And our vendors love it because we actually are very decisive. We don't really overthink it. We just yes, no is kind of what we do when we see when we see the clothing.
Yeah.
It's good. Market's fun.
Market is fun, and it's a lot of work. I think that's something that is kind of overlooked, like the budgeting aspect. Like we just got back from we did a 2-day retreat and worked on our entire budget for the upcoming year and what we can buy and how much in every category. And we stick, when we go to market, we're putting our numbers in, we're following our open to buy budgets, and it's
And
a
all of
lot.
our vendors say we're one of the only stores they see that does that.
which is
That hardly
shocking.
anybody has budgets when they buy. Yep. So
Explain market to people.
So we go to St. Paul Fashion, and they have that 5 times a year. And we go to Style Max twice a year in Chicago. And then we've also been to Vegas, and Vegas is like the big, huge market. It gets a little too overwhelming at Vegas. We find we make poor buying decisions there.
Yeah,
because
it's too rushed.
Too many options
Yeah.
or what?
Yeah, and it's really fast. So like we carry a few premium denim lines like Hudson or AG. When you go into those booths, they have like literally there's a person guarding the booth, and you have to have a pre-made appointment in purchasing, and then you get to come in and you have an
Right.
hour.
And there's like 100 models that just whip by you with the clothes on, and
Sure.
yeah.
and they look great, and you want something for your store. You
You
know,
want to look like that.
Yeah,
'cause
and
they look awesome. Yeah.
yeah, and you're like, oh my gosh, we could totally. So all of a sudden, and you're walking out, you're dropping an order, and it's like, whoa, we
I think we
overdid
overshot.
it.
That's why sometimes we have really good sales
uh-huh.
in the spring because
And we like to keep our inventory fresh. So, I mean, we cycle through it pretty quickly. And when you make decisions like that, we don't want it to be stale. So
they have everything from high fashion to, everyday, cheaper stuff. And then they have men's and women's.
And then like when we go to outdoor markets, so outdoor markets are also like, your Patagonia, Marmot, Cool, all of those brands.
Sure.
Those are also reps of the line. And then those are a year out. So like
Right.
we already are purchased out through
Before we even sell.
next winter.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Before we even
Which is
sell.
kinda
So you
wild.
got to really think about
You
it.
really got to think about it. Yeah. And so a lot of those lines and a lot of the lines that we carry, we're ordering from like for Cool, let's say, as an example, or Patagonia, you order from an open stock. Like you have a 2-week window to get your orders in, and that's the stock that's there. And oftentimes if you're in season and we maybe sold something really well and you try to chase it, it's gone because they planned it and cut it a year in advance. So you try to get in where you can get in and get everything set up. And a lot of our lines custom cut for us too. So you really hope you don't make a bad decision.
Downtown is thriving right now, it seems. And I think you guys are a big part of that. Where did that come from? Where did choosing New London? I know you're from
That's
New
a great
London,
question.
It is a great question because we wrote our business plan. We did it through a government program that offers free business planning services. So we were working with this guy who helped us write our business plan. And then we went and met with the Candido County EDC. And we literally got the question of, why would you open in New London? Why wouldn't you open in downtown Wilmer? Why wouldn't you open, and they were very confused. But at the time, we had Mill Pond Mercantile, a quilt shop, and Heritage Falls, which was going out of business at the time. And those were really the only things in New London. But Mill Pond had a pretty good, track record and solid
Yeah, they're
business
definitely
and-
an anchor.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so we were just like, we want we don't want the big box hours. We wanted a family friendly business. We knew that Mill Pond Mercantile was closed on Sundays, and we wanted it to be a little more family friendly. And so that's why we chose New London. And we got a bonus because Gina, in her dancing history, had
Yuppers.
because Gina, it does have a minor in modern dance.
I do have a modern dance minor. Mm-hmm.
And so she knew the owner of the dance studio and knew that the dance studio was going to change directions. And so we were able to meet with Marlon right next door to where our building is now. And and get in quickly with his building. And it was the perfect starter location.
He's like the landlord angel.
Fabulous.
That's great.
So
Good guy.
we had a really good low overhead there, and we're able to start our business with a lot of confidence, knowing that we weren't, we were in a lower price point area.
What year was it?
2011. Yeah, right when the economy was really bad.
Wow.
So as we were choosing New London, and we had just gotten our spot in the dance studio with Marlon, and he was so good to us. We joined the merchant group of New London, and we went to one of our first meetings. And at one of our very first meetings that we had, the fellow merchants were kind of in an uproar because on the cover of the West Central Tribune, it had Main Street's dying with a big picture of New London's Main Street.
Really?
And we had just opened our doors. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Not a single car.
That's good.
Not
it was
a
an empty
single
Main
car.
Street. Yeah. Yep.
I remember that. Yeah. It was pretty dead.
It was pretty dead. And at that time, the McBroom building right on the river was open. The big store was open.
Yep.
The hardware store was out of business. The business next to the hardware store, like the location was empty.
Tiger Marine was
vacant and empty. I mean, it was...
Well, it had varmints in it, but it was not occupied by humans.
Yeah. Heritage Falls was for sale. I mean, it was...
Yeah. And then even behind our building, it was, Tiger Marine was like a T. So it came up to the main street, but then the whole back block was Tiger Marine's garage. So, there was nothing really between the main street and the river that was even appealing.
And the pottery shop that was down by Tiger's was also
because we had looked at buying that
for
building.
sale.
Yeah.
So where Goat Ridge is now.
So you had a lot of challenges, and you overcame those. What would be some of the key things that maybe kind of kept you going, or what kind of drives you? What says, let's do this?
Well, what kept us going once we opened our doors was the fact that we had sold all our inventory pretty quickly.
Oh, okay.
It was a very quick motivator that we started out strong.
Yeah,
we literally were like, crap, we got to get more inventory.
Right out of the gate, we had a great customer base and just fabulous customers, and a lot of local customers and people that were willing to drive from around the area because there weren't a lot of boutique options at that time. So we were very fortunate in that way.
Yeah, and we have a consistent, to this day, customer base that's about a 60-mile radius from our store.
Okay.
Yeah, and even like January, February, March, and the slow months, we still do way better than we ever dreamed.
Yeah, we're very lucky in that way.
I mean, we're not killing it in those 3 months, but we're
but I suppose you've tweaked a lot of things, right?
keeping it
From the
going,
first time that it's like, oh, this is kind of slow. What should we do next year at this time?
Yep.
We're
not crying and fighting and all that because nobody's coming.
Well, that helps.
Yeah,
that does help. Also, I mean, just the drive. The drive. We just opened a brand new business. We're not we're going to keep this baby going.
Right.
This is our thing. I mean, we were there a lot in the beginning. We didn't have any employees, which was great. It's just Stacey and I that worked it, and that allowed us a little bit of wiggle room too, and to keep us going forward and moving forward.
Yep.
You've said drive a couple times. Like, who do you look to? Anybody inspire you, or do you read a lot about a specific person or people, or what gives you drive, or where do you get some of your motivation?
Yeah, I think I've always been a worker, like driven person. I've always liked to work and like new challenges. I like to learn new things. I really, really, I don't like repetitive work. I like a variety of things to do, and I love people. I've always been a people person. I think that's the kind of what keeps me going, and so I think you're kind of the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. And when not at all afraid of work and being busy and just kind of I think there's an internal fire there that what you want to keep going forward and succeed. And I think when we started, I remember when we left, the biggest thing that people kept on saying was, "Oh, but it's so much work to own your own business. It's so much work to own your own business."
Yeah, it's like having coffee with your friend for 8 hours every day. It's awesome.
Yeah, right.
That's good.
It is, though.
It is. No, it is. It is a fantastic job. But I mean, the work portion of it didn't scare us. It doesn't scare us. And when we started, I mean, there were weeks that 65, 70 hours a week spent at the store, and it was okay. But the timing of it was great too.
it's really, really fun to be in this business. And I, like I say, like I said at the beginning, I have a social work degree, and I'm not doing social work. I mean, but there is a lot of satisfaction in the people part of the business and making women feel good about themselves. We don't pretend like we're counselors or changing the world, but it is fun when people walk into our store and they're frustrated. I can't find a pair of jeans that fit me, or I'm just blah. I'm pasty white. It's January. I've gained 10 pounds, whatever, and then they leave feeling good.
Yep.
Yeah, they're excited about what they get to have. I mean, that's the Happy Souls tagline is feel good about what you get, and that's really what we mean. We want them to feel. And
we've made really good friends with a lot of our customers over the years, just having them and being part of their journey and being part of their life. So it's really fun.
That is very energizing. Yeah, that is really energizing.
And we don't ever have crabby customers. We really don't.
I believe it. We're right across the street. Everybody comes out with a bag. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's having a good time, and they go to the next place.
Yeah, we're really lucky.
That's why we're called the Happy Soul.
That's awesome. I did make some notes here. It's the happy-go-lucky, life is good, always smiling attitude from both of you guys. It seems contagious even in here. Have you heard that from other people?
Yeah. And that's been the hard thing about, like people say, are you going to franchise? Are you going to open a second store? And we wrestle with that all the time. Is it our energy together, our personalities that make the store, and then how do you replicate that? Or is it the product? And we still don't know. I mean,
is it the vibe? Is it the product? Is it us? It's hard. That's a hard thing to.
And it's hard to pull back the drive to do more. It's very hard. Obviously, we haven't gotten to that part yet, but after 2 years, we bought a building. So, I mean, that was really fast probably too fast, but, I'm a driven person, and I like to keep challenging myself. And so it's like, okay, slow down. You don't have to be bigger. You don't have to have 10 stores, but it is always out there, So, but we don't know. Yeah. We don't know what it is. And at this time in New London, it's pretty cool. So make our store just the best it can be and see what happens. I don't know if that made sense.
You just said that you kind of tied back to when we first opened, we talked to a few of the business owners in New London as well. And one of the things that is also a drive about New London, or a draw to New London, I should say, was that they had a merchant group at that time. So they did have a coordinated networking effort of businesses that supported each other, 8 years ago, that we kind of thought that was pretty cool. So we have some great minds here that we can tap into for guidance too.
Yeah. And that group now is probably 30 people that meet, or 20 people that probably meet regularly. But we have a lot more members than that, that we still learn from each other and work together for marketing and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool.
That is great. But that is a big reason I think that New London keeps, it's a coordinated effort. Yeah, it keeps growing. It's a draw to other businesses as well. It was a draw to us then. And when a new business comes in, we hear that still is like, well, I really liked that there was a support system, that there's an organization to what's going on in town, that there's events that are planned. You're kind of stepping into a great atmosphere. You don't have to battle that from the beginning. And that's a nice check off your list.
And the amount of women-owned businesses is really cool. If as a woman to come in and have peers, that's really been fun to see. And so we really enjoy that. Now our merchant group is the restaurants, it's the art community. You guys are part of it. We have some of our mainstay businesses, insurance companies, real estate companies that are part of it, the banks. It's pretty awesome. And the retail.
Yeah,
so it is fun. Yeah.
For sure.
It's really fun to be part of it. So, and we do compete with each other, but it's nice to still be able to play in the sandbox together.
Sure.
Even though there is some...
Everyone gets along.
Yeah. You kind of know that. For everybody. It's good for everybody to get along. Yeah.
For sure.
So...
talk a little bit about experiencing New London. Is that part of that merchant group, or how'd that start? The merchant group, if you talk to like Anita and Ginny at the Mill Pond Mercantile and Laurel at the Bead Jam, they'll talk about the good old days when the merchant group was like a coffee clutch. They got together, they had coffee, they shared a little bit about what was going on, and they went back to their stores. And I think that that's great. Some days I wish that's what it was, light and easy. Sure.
And then probably 5 or 6 years ago, we kind of formalized and we had bylaws, and now it's kind of, I would say, a joint marketing group. Like we actually pay dues. The money gets put to marketing efforts outside of New London, because we're all pretty good at reaching our area, the Wilmer area, but we want to draw from the cities, St. Cloud, and try to get people to come and spend a day or a weekend with us and experience it, not just come and shop, but there's so much to do between the restaurants, the food, the arts, the recreation. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. We aren't really a chamber organization, but it's we put up the great billboard on Highway 23, and we pay for that. We pay for ads in a couple magazines in the cities. We do NPR just to kind of get people aware that this is a great part of the state of Minnesota.
Right, and we didn't really have anything like that for our town when we first moved in too. It was like, well, like you said, we do a great job of reaching our current audience, but we need to get our name out there and bring people to New London. And that's where the Experience New London came from. So with the merchant group, when we started paying the dues, the goal of, say, the marketing group was, will it bring people to New London? That was on the title of everything that we did. Well, will that bring people to New London? So with that, we said we need something rather than, hey, visit New London.
Sure.
You need to experience New London and the many pieces that go to it.
Sure.
Yep. So we're on the map.
Put us on the map.
Yeah.
So a segue from Experience New London would be the Greg Ahmet article.
Yes.
If you want to bring that up.
Yeah, go for it.
So we were in our new location for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Is our second year in our new
2 or 3
location?
years. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't remember.
We had a phone call from Greg Ahmet, who worked for the Min Post, that also they partner with the Star Tribune. But he came out to talk to us about thriving small towns, because even, so many small towns from the recession forward saw a dwindling Main Street, a quieting Main Street, people moving out. And he said then the research that he was doing, was it 3 key factors to a successful small town? One was an arts community, because it's something different. It seemed to coordinate people and bring people together. 2 was a natural draw, like a body of water or a
River.
would be our body
A state
of
park.
water.
State
A
park, something like that. Yeah.
A natural draw. And the third one was a networking Main Street group where businesses could work together. And he said with all of the towns that he had been researching, that those 3 things were really key into having a thriving downtown. And he was just so enamored by New London.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to have him in there. Because the transformation, we said now when we opened almost 8 years ago now, well, now in New London, there's a few open parts of Main Street, but in our journey in the last 7 years, it's been hard to come by an open Main Street location.
And they don't stay open for long. When they are open,
Yeah.
they usually turn pretty quick.
There's a lot that's changed.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And that article was in the cover of it was a Sunday paper, or it was in like the second section of the Sunday paper. And that was really cool too. So, and then we just had another article about New London in the Minneapolis Star and Tribune also. And so it's fun when we can get that statewide press. And when we were at Market this weekend, we had a few people even come up to us and say, oh my gosh, we saw you. So good for New London to see you guys talked about. And it's pretty cool.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at the dance studio, right?
Yep.
And then you bought the building next door, tore that down.
Yep.
That was a big process.
Okay, but
talk about that a little bit.
Hold on. When you said tore, you skipped a step. So we were at the dance studio.
For 2 years.
For 2 years.
Yep.
And then we threw around the idea of, because we were bursting at the seams already.
That, and then our accountant was like, you guys need to get some assets here, because our taxes we didn't have very many expenses. And so we'd go do our taxes and we'd be like, what? Because we just had no.
It got crazy.
It got crazy.
Yeah, real fast.
And so he advised us to start looking to own our own space so we can pay ourselves rent and all that stuff. And we did we look at a couple other options? Oh, we were going, and then we had people asking us for a men's store. We were actually going to buy the building down the street that was the Heritage Falls Market. We looked at that and putting our men's store there so we could kind of go back and forth between the 2 stores. That was one of our options. And then we decided against that. And then I think, did I talk to you or your dad? And I found out that Tiger was, that building the price and everything was getting to be a good price for us. And it was hard. Every time you'd walk from the mill pond to our store, you walked by this just, it was a building that needed to be demoed. And it took up a lot of real estate. And so, you'd just be like, oh, if we could just get rid of that. So we decided, what the heck, let's do it. So we went to the city and asked them if they'd be willing to buy the back portion and make that a parking lot to help us with parking, because we were starting to run into some parking issues. And they agreed to do that. And so we bought it. And
first we had a little party night in it.
After we bought it, then we turned into 4 junior high people, our husbands. Yep,
big.
We took out a baseball bat. We were hitting things. We were playing
tear the place
softball.
down the night before.
We did. It really was fun. It was fun to vandalize something that you own. I've never vandalized anything, so it was kind of fun.
It was a good spot.
I should have brought spray cans and just spray painted all over.
I wish we would have been there.
Yeah, it was really, really fun.
It was fun.
Yep. And it was a lot of space, so it was kind of fun to see it all and dig in there.
Yeah, to dig around in there and stuff. It was a cool building. You could tell that, and it was a mainstay for a long time. But
and we had a guy who came and took as much of it. What does he do? He came
I suppose scrap metal, just took whatever he could salvage.
And the tin ceiling and all that. He
kind of used.
We said, take whatever you want.
A part of his garage out, or his man shop out.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So then we stood actually in front of your office and watched the demo come in and take it down. And raining. It was raining.
Pictures.
Tiger was
I remember
there.
It. Yeah, it was quite a day.
Yep. So they took it all down. And what was really cool about that was it opened up that back space between our building and the river, and it made access to that pottery studio that was for sale at the time, and which is now the Goat Ridge Brewery, which was awesome because now they have a great parking, and it's not so when we looked at buying that building when there wasn't a parking lot, we were like, well, everyone's gonna have to walk down that hill and it's slippery, and it just made sense. So it opened that up, and now they got the piazza out there and fire
really
sculpture.
grown into a really cool space.
Really
it's
cool
really
spot.
fabulous, and even put a stage in the parking lot for
who knows what.
Well, we
one
might
act
just
plays.
do some story time too, over lunch hour.
Yeah.
There you go. We can
go,
just
Brady.
meet at the stage.
So, but that was really, I think a good asset to the town was to get rid of that building, and make the main street look a little bit more consistent with new and fresh, and then a parking lot. So it ended up being awesome. We doubled our space upstairs, so we have 4,400 square feet. We still have a full basement that we use and receive out of, and store and storage and photos, and it's been a great space for us to work in. We added men's and activewear at that time, and just expanded.
Increased our gift selection.
Yep. Yeah.
Good stuff.
So
that's a good section. There.
So we're really, it was fun. A lot of mistakes were made because we should have written a second business plan at that time, and we didn't. And then we went to Vegas, which was not a smart move at that point. So
fill up our store.
Yep.
And then that spring we had a tent sale.
Yeah.
And if you were a shopper of the tent sale, you really appreciated it.
You got a deal.
Yeah. And we've been really fortunate because our customer volume has been enough that we could have been able to afford to absorb those mistakes. Now, granted, we may not have made money, but we didn't have to close up shop.
Yeah.
And we've been really thankful for that we've had a little bit of room to make those mistakes and keep our doors open and learn from them. And we're still learning. I mean, every year we're like, oh, what can we do different to stay in our budget, and always trying to improve. So
always learning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Stacey, I know you ski downhill ski quite a bit.
Yep. I love to ski.
Love going to hockey games. It seems like you go to hockey games.
Yeah, we go to the Wild. And we bring Cole and Gina quite a bit too. It's fun.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we go.
It's nice to have a night out.
Yeah, we like to go to the Wild games, and
Yeah,
we have 2 kids in the St. Paul area, so we spend a lot of time there and back and forth. And I probably drive back and forth to the cities a couple times a week. And
Tell us about was it called the Wild Night Out? Or what was that? I saw you with a bunch of hockey players.
That was really fun.
That was so fun.
So
what was that for? So
they raise money for the Minnesota, I think it's the Children's Hospital. Yeah, in St. Paul. Yep. The Children's Hospital in St. Paul. And the Wild organization does that. They have a foundation. So they put on once every November a wild night out, and you basically buy a table or whatever, just like any fundraiser, and then they do auctions, and then the wild players are the waiters. So
the
it's
bartenders
really
and waiters
cool.
of the
Really
evening.
fun.
It is
And they
so
stand
fun.
around, and they, first they serve you hors d'oeuvres, and you take pictures with them, and they sign and sign autographs, and then you can do silent auctions, and then there's a live auction, and it's really, really fun, and it's super cool because there's a lot of kids that go, like parents bring their kids, and you just see these young kids just getting all these autographs, and the wild players are fabulous.
The young kids and
awesome.
Gina
And
just
Gina and
glowing.
Stacey.
Oh, yes.
And my daughter
fun.
all my
so
kids
fun.
love the wild, but my daughter Martha just loves a couple players. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's fun. Good
It's
cause.
really cool.
Great cause.
Yeah, it is a good cause. So it's fun. And the one year, my husband, we bid on dinner with Bruce Boudreau at his house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Dinner for 8.
They have cats.
Did you get it? Did you get it? You got it. Oh, you did. So you went there.
Yeah, that was really, really fun.
Is that what inspired
It
the
was
cat
super
sweater?
fun. I actually,
Yeah, is that what inspired your cat sweater?
maybe that's where it is.
P
Maybe
Square's
that's
house?
where that is, deep in my brain. But the cool thing about that was I got his cell phone number, so I cannot text him while he's on the bench, though he said. But I've never texted him because we were joking about how I have so many good ideas, like in between periods when they're doing bad. But just
How to
can I
motivate
just
them.
come in and give him a little talk? And
Yes, Stacey, locker room talk.
Yeah.
Get them going on the ice, get them ready.
yeah, and I was like, hey, B square, give me your cell phone number.
Just let me come down there. I just need 5 minutes.
And he ended up giving it to me.
Yeah, he did. Well, and he was a blast. He and his wife were awesome.
It was super funny.
super comfortable, and
Yeah.
they served a great meal, and we chit chatted.
Like we walked in and he has this full bar downstairs, and he's like, all right, it's yours for the night, whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
We're like, really?
Yeah, any Clico down here?
Eric opens some. You can't open that. Yes, I can. He said I could. It was so nice. They were lovely, lovely people.
They were lovely, and it was fun to talk to them about the season and just about being in Minnesota. And when we were leaving, he had house plants. Remember, he had kale and things growing outside of his door. And I said, "Oh my gosh, you have kale and herbs and stuff out here. Do you use that for cooking?" He's like, "Why would I eat my house plants?" He was just remember that. He thought that was so funny.
It was super funny. That was really a fun night.
It was a great night. Yeah.
Last November?
That was last year we did that. So
Wow.
it was
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
Tell our listeners what it takes to. I mean, how did you go from ground zero to where you're at with the business? What's some key advice to a listener right now?
Well, and we joked a little bit about the pre-partner counseling, but if you do have a partner, it's very important to get some things out and understood right from the beginning. And the biggest reason partnerships break up is a discrepancy in work. So one partner does all the work, the other one's not doing the work, or how are you going to compensate? And so we laid out a plan right from the beginning of how we're going to compensate ourselves while we're working, and how we're going to deal with the profits. And so,
and we really went through every scenario.
Yeah.
We went through the scenario of of a divorce, of death, of work, of compensation, of
we have
of it
insurance
all.
out on each other, to
Yeah.
pay for the building, stuff like that. So that was super. I think that was really eye opening for us to go through together. But the business plan, I think, we learned when we opened the second store that was a mistake not to do one, but having that business plan from the beginning was really, really helpful for us. And then the research we did, that going to the boutiques, what you like and don't like, and we even joke, we stay at a hotel in Chicago, and when we go there, we're like, this it's a boutique hotel. This hotel went to a bunch of hotels and said, this is what I don't like. And they do everything
And they did
different.
it, yep.
Yep. And that's kind of
it's
what
great.
we did. Yeah.
It is what we did.
You don't like it loud, so they made the rooms really quiet. You don't like, a bad bed, so that's a great bed. You
You can open your window 3 inches to get fresh air if you want to have, you can do like
you can you just walk outside your room and walk to the end of the hall, and there's the continental breakfast. You don't
on
have
every
to go
floor.
downstairs.
Isn't that
Yeah.
nice?
So,
Yeah.
and
There's
that's
free drink token in the evening
Yeah.
for a glass of wine before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Like these are things that's like, yeah, this is what
They
we did.
nailed it. And that's what we did
Yeah.
from the shopping point. What don't we want to be, and what, how do we want to present ourselves? And that was important. And we had the same vision.
The same vision, and also the business plan, also it gives you a really great outline. So we've through 8 years of doing this, we always say, well, we could do that, but does it stick to what we wanted the Happy Soul to be and where we see the Happy Soul. And I think by kind of sticking to the vision and following that, paddling your own canoe through the way, I think that our customers have appreciated that. And it's been one of the reasons why we've been able to keep afloat, even through like some tough times too. Like it's what keeps us going and moving forward and having the ability to keep moving forward.
And our husbands are amazing. And our husbands really like each other. So the four of us get along really well together. But they also hold us accountable. They keep us on track. And my husband will always say, well, yeah, that's a good idea, but is it going to sell more clothes? Or, yeah, but, they're both but peoples.
Yeah, but
sure.
When we bring up our ideas, we run things by them. They own the building with us. We own the business. They own the building. Grumpy Moon Properties, because they're part of it. Yeah. So, but they, having that support is really important too. So you can, there's always good to have someone who sees from the outside what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And one of the things that when you said earlier, when you look up to somebody, we do watch and follow other stores and other boutiques. And we've been trying to find that when we go to market too, somebody that we can kind of talk to that's maybe not from around our area that give us tips and tricks. And we do have a mentor that is fabulous. And we meet with him with every Chicago market, but he was big with Eileen Fisher. And then he went into sales repping and he works with a lot of stores.
And he owned a couple stores.
And he owned a couple stores as well. So he's been a big part of that for us and keeping us moving forward too. But I would say we, if anybody would ever want to talk about something like that, they can reach out to us too through our Facebook or for Gmail or anything. We do work with the KCEO program, and we have worked with a couple other stores around the state that maybe have different questions and how to get started and what to do. And we're open to that as well.
Yep. Very cool.
And then the last thing is you guys are on social. You want to plug any of that?
All of it.
Yeah,
we do. We are pretty active with our Facebook. We've started doing a few more videos and things. Our product is also going up on Facebook and also Instagram. We're at The Happy Soul, and Facebook is Facebook.com/Happy Soul.
I would say we almost do as much on Facebook sales as we do online. So people see something on Facebook and they email us, and then, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of a pleasant surprise.
When it's a fun way for us to get the personality of the store out there to more people than just walking through the door to feel it. So it's kind of a great avenue for that.
Yeah. So you should follow us and watch our videos.
If you like this podcast, wait till you see the Facebook page.
Yeah, sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they're flat, but
you just never know.
Ones.
But Stacey it's fun though, right?
It is fun.
It's fun. You're both having fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
It's awesome.
It's great.
Yeah, it just teaches you a lot about yourself when you watch yourself on TV. When you watch yourself on video, you kind of go, that's not the person I see every morning.
Yeah, right? That's good. It's really good to see that.
It's really interesting.
If you haven't been to the Happy Soul, you need to stop by and say hi to Stacey Roberts and Gina Leisure. You'll absolutely love it there. We appreciate them coming on the podcast.
Thanks for taking time out of your day to spend with us. And if you enjoyed the episode, it would mean a lot to us if you would subscribe and leave a review. The On Main Street podcast is a bi-weekly show brought to you by New London Real Estate Inc.